Hello, chat. How are we doing today? Yeah, we're finally streaming again after, 2 weeks? I'm sorry for the 2 week break, but, we had to deal with, the bullshit called the Switch 2. But now we can actually stream. Alright. So, first off, how are we doing today, chat? Hope we're doing good today. Yes, and, if you can, go tell Otendo happy birthday. It is his birthday today. So, chat, we have some homework to finish. So, if you did not know, I'm gonna get a bit sappy here, but, if you did not know, over the 4th of July weekend in Texas, the Texas Hill Country was massive flash floods. Right now, there are, if I'm remembering correctly, over 100 confirmed deaths. And if you did not know, this was my home. I grew up in this area. I lived in this area. Which is why, instead of having my Streamlabs link in the pinned comment, instead it's the link to go and donate to help the fund. Because I personally lost friends. I personally lost people that I've known for years. So instead of donating to me, my dumbass, I'd rather that money go to them. Because I know people that lost their houses, that lost their jobs, that lost everything. I know that that's a somber way to start off the stream, but I wanted to get that out of the way, and I wanted to let you know that also, if there are any donations today through my Streamlabs link, they're all going to be going to this fund. So, with that out of the way, we have a special opener. Our favorite penguin decided to upload. Yeah, boys. It's Saltslander 5. I got a sneak peek at this before it came out, so I've already watched the video. Yes, Radar is butter. So I've already watched Saltslander 5, but I'm going to react to it again. Thank you, Jacob. So I'm going to react to it again on stream. Alright, so let's go. That's alright, Piplup. Thanks for stopping by anyways. Yes, we want all the slander. We want all the content. Give us more content, Radar. Give us more! Give us more. You can't tell me that's not true, chat. You can't tell me that's not true. Gar can lie all he wants, but that's fucking true. If you post a fucking schedule, Crab, I expect the schedule to be followed, you fucking crustacean. You fucking crustacean. Where's my videos, Crab? Where's my fucking Thursday streams, Crab? Get off of fucking Death Stranding 2, get off of that for 5 minutes, and fucking make content. You finally started, and now you're not. Jesus Christ. Fucking true. Fucking true. True. He can deny all he wants, chat. He can deny all he wants. You know it's right, Spec. You know it's fucking right. Fucking true. Okay, so, there's actually a story to this. So whenever Otendo joins the chat, and me and Klutzy and Spec or Caden, we're all playing Night Rain, right? And Klutzy does not like a certain character called Albedo. And we will get in the chat a bunch of Albedo porn. So, Klutzy will then demand fucking Otendo to go out and find him some fucking Duchess porn, some Recluse porn, and any porn from fucking Elden Ring. Because he does not like fucking Albedo. Jacob, it's the succubus from Overlord. And this happens every fucking night when Otendo is in the chat. Every night. Get that man to 10K. Get that man to 100K. What is he at? 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 96. He was at 98. He's almost there. He's almost fucking there. If you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to the fucking stick. Go sub to the stick. Go sub to the stick. We want the man to get to 100K. Because he's doing a fucking fantastic job and he deserves it. He deserves 100K. He did this again. He did this again, chat. So you know how there's a new Squirrel Girl cosmetic. And it's a Venom one. He did this again. He fucking did this again. He did this again. It was funny. He had to fucking justify why getting the battle pass was an investment. He did it again. Yes, and it's fucking amazing, Radar. Keep doing it. This is everybody with Cynthia. This is everybody with Cynthia. Or this is me with fucking Eve. This is me with Eve. But yes, this is fucking Gara. I'm gonna force that fucking man. I'm gonna force Klutzy to actually eat spices. I'm going to fucking force him to eat spices. He needs fucking taste in his life, and he doesn't have it. Hey, Sumtendo. This is fucking true. This is fucking true. Also, where's my fucking Expedition 33 video? Where is it at? Spec, I need my fucking Expedition 33 video from you, please. You're the biggest dick rider of this amazing fucking game, and I need it. Yes, Nintendo. That's actually on. I think I put that on the docket today. It's a lot of fucking Nintendo shit. It's a lot of Nintendo shit, but yeah, that may be on the docket. And also, to my fellow Helldivers, if you see a PlayStation pony try and team kill, you have the right, by the fucking Council of Super Earth, to execute them for treason. We do not kill our fellow Helldivers. We do not. Also fucking true. And I don't understand how Joe does all his fucking... all of it is one take. Every single one of his videos he does in one take. It's fucking insane. Now, chat, I think you can see. I was included. I was included in Salt Slander, which is why I got a special sneak peek before everybody else. Radar told me that he wasn't gonna fucking include me in any. He told me that he wasn't gonna include any because it was the joke between me and him that I was never gonna be in one. And he surprises me with this shit, which was actually very nice because he showed me the video right after all the shit with the floods happened. And, like, during that time, me and my family were getting calls and texts about shit. That fucking chaos, it's basically, like a specific... Hey, random boy. So, Chaos, it's basically, like a hangout that, like, us and a bunch of the other content creators go into. And we call it the Super Secret DMs. Yes, I see that she's playing Choo Choo Charles. It's on my fucking playlist. I have to play Choo Choo Charles. I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna probably play it on stream. Hey, random boy. But yeah, I was not expecting to get added into fucking Salt Slander. I was not. This was very nice to fucking Radar to do. But, and also, this is fucking true. Everything in this video is true. Everything. And this is true. This is fucking true. Alright. Our favorite penguin fucking uploaded. Go give him a like. Go give him some likes. And remember, chat, everything is true. Alright. We got the homework done. And we got our opener done. Now let's get into some content, chat. The Nintendo Switch True being a generational leap pisses people off. Nintendo Prime being an idiot as always. I'm gonna have some things to say about this video. Right, let's... Yeah, Jacob, I hope... This is my fucking hope with, Superman, is that I hope it's good. And what I really hope it's that it's not fucking, if you don't know what I'm saying, Orange Man bad. I say that because I don't want the fucking, I don't want it to be a bunch of like heavy-handed political commentary. I want it to be a Superman movie. I go to see it for a Superman movie. I'm hopeful that this is going to be good. Some of the early reviews are saying, it's not really good. I'm hopeful this is good. But yeah. I mean, Man of Steel is an interesting movie, I'd say. It's an interesting movie. It's not. I wouldn't. The problem is that it's a Superman movie, but Superman doesn't feel like Superman, in a sense. Like, a lot of people were complaining that, Superman killed in the movie, when Superman doesn't really have a code like Batman does. He'll kill. It's just for Superman, killing is a last resort. It's a last resort, and I think that in that situation with Zod, he would have found another way to stop him besides doing the good old neck break. You get what I'm saying? Like, the movie just felt off, and I feel like that hopefully James Gunn understands Superman better. I'm just gonna say this. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner is perfect fucking casting. Because I would have wanted Nathan Fillion in the fucking DCU, but either as Hal Jordan or Guy Gardner. He's perfect as he's one of those. Alright, we're fucking off topic already. So, if you don't know, I've been working on a Nintendo Switch 2 review for 3 fucking weeks. As I rip my hair out. No, it's not your fault, Jacob. That's on me. But as I rip my hair out about this fucking console, because I have so many mixed thoughts about it. Hopefully, I should be done with the fucking review by this weekend. I have tomorrow off, and literally all of that's gonna be me recording. And me, like, because I'm actually doing in-person physical recording, and not just me on the mic. Jacob, he is, Arctic, one of the members of the community. He's in his Discord, and in his Discord, he has affiliate links for all of the Nintendo stuff. So if you buy, hold on, I think it's in his fucking description. No, it's not. Fuck. But he does have affiliate links for Nintendo games, for Nintendo stuff. So he is literally shilling for them. He actively gets paid if you think that Nintendo is good. He actively gets paid. But yeah, my thoughts about the fucking Switch 2 are very complex. And very much a thing of, it's good in some areas, bad in some areas, terrible in others, fantastic in others. But yeah, let's get on with this video because I'm going to debunk most of the shit that he says.
Back to the Nintendo Prime, and yeah, first off, the shirt's wrinkly. I'm sorry I didn't iron it today. It was actually stuck at the bottom of a laundry.
Why the fuck do you iron your shirt? Death, so the Switch 2 is weird because, if you look at how Pro systems are designed, they are designed in a way that keeps the CPU the same, but upgrades the GPU. So how they will design a Pro system is that the CPU will be the same, but it will be overclocked, while it will basically be a new GPU. Along with that, when you look at the Switch 2, it is very similar in that it has massive GPU performance uplift, but minor CPU performance uplift, because the CPU performance is only like 3 times as powerful as the Switch 1 CPU. Not a 1.2. Not a 1.2. This is a... It has enough performance uplift to be considered a sequel, but my personal headcanon is that the Switch 2 was originally supposed to be the Switch Pro, and then was upgraded to the Switch 2, which is why you see that similar design philosophy when it comes to designing the chip. It's very interesting. But yeah. Also, Nintendo Prime, just fucking throw it in the dryer. Or get an actual unwrinkled shirt. Why the fuck are you wearing... Are you out of shirts? Are you out of shirts? You gotta look nice for your shit.
Basket, that's why it's all wrinkly. But you know what? That doesn't matter because we actually have to have an interesting conversation today. I apparently triggered...
Jacob, so apparently Nintendo said that they didn't go with an OLED because they wanted the HDR and the 120 FPS. It's fucking weird. They should have went with OLED. They should have just went with fucking OLED. Once again, chat. $500 is the Switch 2 plus Mario Kart World. $550 is the Steam Deck OLED. The Steam Deck OLED is a fucking... Yeah, random boy. There's OLEDs with HDR. There's OLEDs with variable refresh rate. They could have done an OLED. I think it was because of the brightness. Which even then, if you have to go with an LCD, there's mini LED, which is slightly more expensive than OLED, but has better brightness, so you kind of went with that. It just sounds like Nintendo wanted to cheap out on the fucking screen, and you can see it with the fact that it just... the ghosting on it. It's so dumb, and it's obviously because Nintendo fucking just wanted to cheap out. They just wanted to cheap out, let's be honest.
A bunch of people when I made a statement I felt should be fairly obvious and pretty hard to really get mad about, and that is stating that the Nintendo Switch 2 is a generational leap over the Nintendo Switch. I don't really think that this is a hard to believe statement. This isn't even arguing.
In GPU performance, I'd say it's a generational leap. In GPU performance, simply because you are going from... What the fuck did the Tegra 1 run on? Not much censored, you just missed Saltslander, and you missed me explaining why the pinned chat is different. Basically, that's a donation link to help with the effects of the Texas flash floods. It's something that I'm personal to because I lived there, friends and family lived there. I lost friends and family. So yeah, it's something that's close to my heart. Maybe censored. Maybe it is. So Nintendo, so probably what it is that if you look at all the games that were released for the Switch 2 in its launch lineup, they were all also on the PS4. Yeah, they were on the PS4. No, censored. If I don't think fucking I don't think Nintendo Prime. I don't think he went to what's the word for it? Black guy English. I don't think he went to black guy English. Yeah, I know you're fucking. I know you're joking. I know you're fucking with him. But like I said, in GPU performance, it is a generational leap. In CPU performance, it's not. Being only 3 times more powerful than a already weak CPU is not that great. It's not that great. So when you're looking at this, and you're looking at it, this system is going to be hampered by that shit ass CPU. And if you remember what I said earlier about how companies design pro systems, they don't usually upgrade the CPU. So later down the line, you're gonna see a bunch of people clamoring for a Switch 2 Pro. And if that comes out, you have to ask the question, will Nintendo realize that the problems with the Switch 2 is that it's a CPU bottleneck? If they realize that, then we'll actually get what we should have gotten from the fucking, that we should have gotten on release. Also, true censored. I fucking counted, so out of the launch lineup, 10 of the games are on Switch 1 for the Switch 2. 10 of them. And when you look at the games that are released since, every single one of them also has a Switch 1 port. So when you're looking at that launch lineup, and you're looking at all these games, you only have 15 games that can't be played on the Switch 1. That's 15 games, and only 4 of them you can only play, well, technically only 3 of them you can only play on the fucking Switch 2. Those being Mario Kart World, Welcome Tour, and Fast Fusion. And then you also have Bravely Default, which is a remaster, and is available on 3DS. No, Nintendo, you have Cyberpunk, and then you have some others with Street Fighter 6. That's not on Switch 2. That's not on Switch. Yeah, Chaos. Yakuza 0, I don't believe that was on Switch 2. Switch 1. I don't think that was on Switch 1. I don't think Yakuza 0 was on Switch 1. And I don't count the GameCube games, because the GameCube games I can already fucking play. I have a modded fucking Wii. I can play GameCube games. Yeah, they've been behind in tech since the Wii. They've been behind the tech in tech since the Wii, and they could keep going without having the latest and greatest tech because they had interesting gimmicks, and they were really in their own price category. Jacob, those are $200 fucking dollars for a used one. And like, you could stomach it with the Wii because you had motion controls and really wasn't trying to compete with 360 and PS3. The Wii U, you really couldn't, because the Wii U was a fucking piece of shit architecturally, because they basically strapped the G3, an iMac G3's processor, to a modern GPU. They basically just strap that to the modern GPU, and that's why every fucking game runs on like shit on that platform. The Switch you could reasonably just excuse, because again, at the time that the Switch released, there wasn't really anything like it. Now there's a bunch of fucking competition. You have the Steam Deck for $400. You have the ROG Ally. You have the Legion Go. You have the MSI Claw. You have all the fucking Ambernicks. All the fucking Ioneos. You have all of those. And then you have the Switch 2 just in the middle of it. With less games. Less features. And a higher price than some of them. So yeah, but fuck, we're only 30 seconds in. Alright, let's continue.
About Switch 2 being a Generation 10 system or anything like that. This isn't even saying that it's a generational leap over PS5 or Xbox or anything like that. Even other PC handhelds. Literally, the statement's just that it's a generational leap over the original Switch and not something a Switch Pro would have been capable of. And apparently,
I actually agree with him on this, because most likely the Switch Pro would have probably used the same architecture that was on the 2000 series, the 20 series, not the 30 series. The problem with this statement is that when looking at it, the Switch 2 uses an architecture from 5 years ago, combined with some AI tech. And if you look at PC and you look at the modern consoles, AI bullshit really harms ports. Because why actually optimize and port for the system when you can just use AI? And it's fine at that point. So you have that. You have a weaker CPU. You have... I will give the Switch 2 this. It does have more RAM than the Series S. But that's more a knock against the Series S for only having 8 gigs of fucking RAM. The Series S should have had 10 gigs at a minimum. It shouldn't have had little RAM. It's fucking stupid. But, like, the Switch 2 is going to get fucking swept away in the coming years. I know that there was a statement from Virtuos, the guys that did Oblivion Remastered, and they said that if a game runs at 60 on the Series S, it will most likely run at 60. It will most likely be easier to port to the Switch 2. The problem is that those are becoming few and far between. And that also requires that you're actually optimizing the game well, which I have no faith in any of these companies to fucking optimize their games. I don't think that they're gonna go ahead and optimize their games. We've already seen with some of them that they're not really optimizing them that well. Jacob, I don't know. I don't know. That really depends on if I can get a fucking... Basically, if I can get fucking Klutzy or my brother to fucking play the game with me, I'll fucking buy it. If I can't, then I'll probably just play it on Game Pass. Grounded's never really been a game that I was that interested in. The sequel, it's great for people that are gonna buy it. I'm just not really that interested in the game. Like, that's just me. But most likely, I do agree with Nintendo Prime on this. Just because I don't think Nintendo would have gone with Ampere. They would have gone with the 20 series architecture. And that's really it. That's really my reason. Because I know they're not going to go with the 10 series architecture. They're going to go with the 20 series architecture.
Apparently, this has just gotten a lot of people upset. And I actually started having this conversation and made this original statement sort of off the cuff after watching a Digital Foundry video about Hogwarts Legacy and the Switch 2 version versus the Switch 1 version, and how I personally just see this massive leap forward that I didn't see with other platforms coming from Xbox Series, or Xbox One and PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. The leap was there, obviously. There's been improvements in resolution and particle effects and lighting. Yeah.
The problem with that, the problem with the jump from the PS4 and Xbox One to the PS5 and Series S and X is because a lot of fucking games are still being made with the PS4 in mind. The PS4 is still living. So they designed their games around the fucking PS4. So there can't be a generational leap when the last gen is still getting games. And then when you look at games that are not on the fucking PS4, which is basically, it's basically just Spider-Man 2 at this point that isn't a fucking remake. That doesn't look substantially better than Spider-Man 1 on the PS4. Because that was probably a PS4 game that took too long and is now being retrofitted to be a PS5 game. The problem with that generation is that we haven't seen a leap because devs aren't willing to just drop the previous generation. Once they actually fucking do that and cut it off, then yeah, we'll see the leap. And chat, that's exactly what's gonna happen with the fucking Switch 1, Switch 2, and Switch 1. We're gonna see a lot more fucking Switch 2 games that have Switch 1 versions, which means that they're going to be developing for the worst case scenario, which is the Switch 1. So that means that you're not going to see that many improvements from Switch 1 to Switch 2. You're just not. Now, Hogwarts Legacy, I think, is a very impressive game on the Switch 2. I think it's kind of impressive. I don't like that it's only 30 FPS. I don't like that. Shad, they're not releasing it on the Switch 2 because why make a Switch 2 version when they can just play it on the Switch 2 through backwards compatibility? Like, that's just smart business sense. Why make a Switch 2 version when you can only play the Switch 1 version? The only reason that they're doing the Switch 2 enhanced versions is because this is actually something I found out, chat. So, the reason that there's a difference between, like, the Switch 2 upgrade packs and just Switch 1 games that got a patch is that the upgrade packs are actual ports of the games. They're actual ports of the games. While the Switch 1 updated versions are just the Switch 1 game running in an emulator with some enhanced features for Switch 2. That's why there's a difference. You can notice the difference Because if you look at the startup screen of each... Hey, Dez! But if you look at the startup screen of each, with the Switch 2 games that have, like, an enhanced... like, the Switch 2 upgrade packs, they boot up and have the Switch 2 splash screen. Which means that it's booting in Switch 2 mode, as I like to call it. Or basically, the default Switch 2 operating system. While Switch 1 games, those boot up with the same Switch 1, like, opening that you would see when you were playing just a game on Switch 1. Which means that that game is just running through the emulator, or as I like to call it, Switch 1 mode. So we're probably going to see a lot of Switch 1 games that get either a patch or a port, or like an upgrade pack for Switch 2. So we're still going to get hampered by the fucking Switch 2, like how the PS5 got hampered by the PS4. We're just going to be fucked, basically.
There's improvements, but it just didn't seem as stark as the improvement from Switch 1 to Switch 2, and that's because the essential improvement from Switch 1 to Switch 2 feels like going from the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4. That was a really big...
No fucking shit. No fucking shit, Primey. No fucking shit. You know why? Because the Switch 1 in power is more similar to the fucking PS3 in 360. While the Switch 2 is more similar to the fucking PS4 and Xbox One. Jacob, so the 3 PS3 versions? Not much, C-Star. You just missed Saltslander, I think, and the start to this video. Jacob, all 3 of the PS3 versions, there is no Pro version of the PS3. So all 3 of them use the same chip. So it's basically the same fucking thing. It's just... No, yeah, Jacob. You have the fat PS3, which is the one that has back compat in certain models. And then others, they just got rid of it for a PS2 back compat. Then you have the slim, which is just an improved version, which is basically just an improved version of this, of the fucking, GPU with no performance improvements. And they have the Super Slim, which is just the cheapest one. Chad, that's more because of the fact that the Switch 2 1 isn't easy to develop for. It's not. You're translating ARM. You're translating x86 games to ARM. So it's not going to be that great. And sure, yeah, it's basically a slim model. Yeah, but that's because more so the porting job that the companies did, rather than the actual power of the system. It's the exact fucking same as the PS3 or 360.
Big leap, and it seems like the leaps, at least from a visual perspective, are getting smaller and smaller each generation, and that's to be expected. You start to reach diminishing returns and all of that stuff. Now, I didn't think that this was a controversial statement. I didn't think that there was anything that really needed to be said about it other than, hey, here's a screenshot, it looks pretty cool, and we move on. But unfortunately, that is not the way the world works. That is not the way the internet works. And so now we're here having this conversation. Now, I want to be very clear heading into this conversation, and I'll be showing some footage from Digital Foundry first before we get to my statement and the responses to it. But I want to be very clear that obviously I'm a Nintendo fan, right? I run a Nintendo YouTube channel. It's in the username. It's in the branding that I'm wearing.
Huh. If you couldn't fucking notice, then you're just fucking blind and deaf and retarded.
I thoroughly enjoy Nintendo. I'm a huge Nintendo guy, and because I am, I have arguably stake in the success of Switch 2. I am a
You do because you make money off of it through your fucking affiliate links. You do. You make money off of your affiliate links. So yeah, you want the system to succeed because you want to make money.
full-time YouTuber. I do this for a living. It supports my family, and so if the Switch 2 is successful, probably the channel will be successful, right? If nobody's playing Switch 2, nobody's looking up Switch 2 news videos. If if everyone's playing Switch 2, they're probably going to want to be watching news videos or even opinion pieces, reviews, etc. So
Nintendo, Arlo is, I like Arlo. Some of his political opinions I don't really agree on, but I try to keep politics out of, like, the YouTubers I watch. I don't, unless they're, like, directly political, I don't really care who the fuck you vote for. I don't. But, like, he's, I point him out in my fucking review as, like, a Nintendo-centric channel to go and watch if you want to see, like, a lot of the positives of the Switch 2. Compared to, like, because he's not a shill, if you get what I'm saying. Because Arlo will still come out and say, this, if he doesn't like something, he'll say that he doesn't like something. He didn't like Princess Peach Showtime, and he said that. He didn't recommend it. When you look at someone like Harmon, anything Nintendo is God. So they cannot do anything wrong. Yeah, I point out Arlo, I point out Wolfden, and I point out Beat 'em Up's Wood as, like, if you want to see more positive coverage of the Switch 2, I'd say go to their channels, because they're also not going to sugarcoat some things. They don't like fucking like Wood made. I didn't mention Scott Jacob because Scott doesn't do, like, review content like how those three do. Just go watch Scott either way. He makes fucking amazing content. Scott's great. But he doesn't do the same thing as them, so I don't really put them in the same category. But, like, they all don't like game key cards, and they all made videos on why they didn't like game key cards. So they're not completely blind in saying Nintendo is God, Nintendo is great, I love Nintendo. They're saying, well, I like the Switch too because I like the Switch, but there's still problems with it. And this is what I like, this is what I don't like. They're balanced. They're more positive than negative, which you can take as a positive or a negative, depending on your opinion on Nintendo and the system. But, like, I point them out as, like, because my video is, don't just go to my video and then make your decision just on my video. Go watch more. Go watch more, see the positives, see the negatives, see what I couldn't see that somebody else could. But I do point out, don't go to fucking Nintendo Prime, don't go to Switch Wars, don't go to any of the fucking shills. Exactly, censored. They're more about constructive criticism.
sure, you can argue that there is bias involved in this statement, but I don't really feel like what I said, and when I show you this, feels very biased to me. It feels like a pretty clear and obvious statement that, guess what? I'm aware that all Sony fans and Xbox fans experienced a generation ago. I get it. I understand it. Also, it's okay to point out that it's a leap for Nintendo, regardless of how old the technology might be in Switch 2. People want to argue it's 2020 tech. It doesn't matter, because I'm not talking about when the tech came out. I'm not talking about anything other than its leap over Switch 1 and how it's
Yeah, C-Star. Yeah. Like, Switch Force. He went apeshit. He went apeshit because IGN gave what, in my opinion, was actually a fair review of the Switch 2. They gave it a 7, which I completely agree with. I agree that's a 7, and he went apeshit over it because he's like, well, it's fucking amazing. No, the Switch 2 is not amazing. It is good in some areas, and it is terrible in others. Ergonomically, it's better than the Switch 1. But that's not really a fucking... That's not the best jump. Because when I hold something like a Steam Deck or ROG Ally, or hell, even my PS Vita, it feels much better in the hand. And then Switch Force says, well, I think the Switch 2 is actually more comfortable than Steam Deck. Which makes no fucking sense. When you consider the fact that the Switch 2 has no grips and the fucking analog sticks are parallel to the screen. It is one of the worst things about the Switch 1, and they didn't fucking change it. Yeah. They're thicker, but they also add grips so that my hands actually have something to hold on to and not just flat. While also being around the same weight as the Switch 2. It's why I don't like, and it's why I tell people to not go to fucking shield channels like Switch Force, like Nintendo Prime, like Harman, because they're not going to give you the negatives and they're not going to give you an honest review. They're going to say they have an extreme bias. Some of them because of monetary value, some of them because they like their dick being sucked by the company, and some of them because they legitimately think that Nintendo is God. It's why I get frustrated, and it's why I even bought the thing and I'm doing a review. Because I don't want people to get tricked into buying something because these people gave it an overflated review. Yes, Nintendo. I have problems with the Switch 2 ergonomically. I will say this. The Joy-Cons are actual usable controllers. You can actually use them and have a fine time. Does that mean that you should not get a Pro Controller? No. Because a Pro Controller actually is a controller and doesn't have the fucking sticks parallel to each other. I'm fucking ranting because I fucking hate that design feature. I hate that design feature.
Probably going to be good enough for a majority of consumers for a while. So let's first go over to the Digital Foundry video. I have to remind you, we are giving away 5 copies of Donkey Kong Bonanza to enter to win. Winners will be drawn on the 14th. Well, actually, technically probably the 15th because it ends at the 14th at 11:59 p.m. So we'll probably draw them on the 15th. But either way, winners will be drawn then. You can go to the link down in the pinned comment or the description to enter. And let's go ahead and get into this. This is the screenshot that I shared. I still have it up, but we'll go through more of the footage. This is the one that I shared on social media, showing the Switch 1 version on the left from the Digital Foundry video and the Switch 2 version on the right. A very...
No, yes. When you're looking at this, and this was all that we knew about the Switch 2. There was no fucking content. There was nothing. There was nothing else. It was just this image. And this is what the Switch 1 version looked like. This is what the Switch 2 version looked like. I would say yes. No, yeah, censored. This is the exact same place. You can see some of the rock formations same right here. You can see same distance. that little alcove is right here. It's just because the Switch 1. It's just because the Switch 2. This is a game, if you don't know, Hogwarts Legacy was a game built for PS5 and Series S and X first, then downported to the PS4 and Xbox One, and then that version was then downported to the Switch 1. So you're literally, this looks like a PS3 game. This looks like an actual game. This looks like a fucking tech demo that a hobbyist would make. And this looks like an actual game that would be released. The problem is that this game was on PS4 and Xbox One. Yeah, censored. It's fucking annoying. It's actually fucking annoying. Because what I would like to do is that I have my Switch 2 dock downstairs. And there are some times where I'm like, I don't want to play downstairs. I want to play it upstairs on my TV in my bedroom. The problem is that I only have one dock. Which means I would have to grab the dock, the cable, everything. I have to grab everything, move it up here, fiddle around with it, and by the time that I'm done with it, god damn it, now I want to go to sleep. And it's not even the fact that I would be willing to buy another dock. The problem is that the dock is fucking $120. If it was like $80, I'd be fine with that. Because you get the dock, and then you get the HDMI cable, and then you get the power cord. And the power cord by itself is, I think, $35. So you're paying $55 for the dock and the cable. Which is like, that's a bit better. When it comes to like, but $120. $120 for a fucking, what is essentially a USB dock with a fan. $120 for that? Hell no. Alright, C-Star, thanks for stopping by. If I'm still streaming, I'll see you back here. But yeah, the Switch be another 60 or 70, I don't know. Yeah, it's a big piece of pot. Like, I've seen teardowns of the dock, and what it is that it's a fan, a board that has all the back HD, like the HDMI cable, the LAN port, a USB, and the power input, and then another board for the two outside USB ports, and then a cable running to a daughter board that has the Switch 2, that has like the USB port that you dock the Switch into. That's all, essentially all the dock is. It's a fancy USB dock. And that makes it hard for me because I also have to record footage. What I would usually do is that when I record footage on my Switch 1, I just have a normal USB-C dock. Like, just a normal one that I would use with my laptop. All it has is a USB port that allows for USB-C port that allows for a power transfer, one USB port, and an HDMI. I just plug that into Switch 1, plug all those in, use my Pro Controller, I'm done, I'm recording. With the Switch 2, I can't do that. And it's so fucking stupid. But yeah.
Very clear, massive visual leap forward. Again, nowhere was I saying this is impressive compared to PS5 or Xbox. It's impressive compared to the original Switch. And you can see over and over again throughout this footage, just massive improvements from the left to the right. You can just see how much clearer things are, how much better the lighting is, how much better the texture quality is, and more. Like, everything just looks so much better.
PS1 game to a PS3 game. That's what I see here, is that this is a PS1 demake of Hogwarts Legacy, and this is a PS3, PS4 version. That's all I see.
Left to right. And this was the entire point of what I was talking about in regards to Hogwarts Legacy in particular. And the reason I brought up this game is because I've actually been playing this game on my Switch 2. I've been actively playing this game literally right now, and I noticed the big visual upgrade. I mean, come on. It's a pretty big visual upgrade, right? We're not going to sit here and pretend otherwise, regardless of whatever you want to rank Switch 2 in the pantheon of consoles and your preferences of play and PC gaming and all of that. The point is that this is a leap forward. And if we're not going to acknowledge that, then we're just being disingenuous. This is not a simple pro version of a system. And the reason I can say that is because we have examples of pro versions of systems. The PlayStation 4 Pro, the PlayStation 5 Pro. It wasn't this big visual leap over the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5.
Oh, we remember the PlayStation 5 version. We remember the PlayStation 5 Pro. Remember Mark Cerny going up and saying, "Look at the background detail, that's very improved." Now you can read. Now this text is visibly readable in the background. We remember that. We call the PS5 Pro a scam. Not in the same way that I personally believe the Switch 2 at this moment is a scam. But still a scam.
And obviously Nintendo, while they didn't use the moniker Pro, they've used new 3DS in the past, right? DSi. Those were both, upgraded versions of current systems that were more powerful, but you didn't notice a massive, a huge visual leap forward. Sometimes you get some extra performance, better frame rates, but you weren't noticing like a huge leap forward visually like you're seeing.
Seriously, what the fuck? Why? At that point, if it looks like this, why port it? Why port it at all? If it's going to look like this, why port it at all?
I mean, look at this, just back and forth. Clearly, this is like a generational leap for Nintendo, really for any company if they were running the Nintendo Switch tech for this long. So, yeah, obviously, I find this to be fairly impressive. Is this impressive compared to all versions? Well, of course not. You can fast forward here, past the Switch comparison, you can get to the PS4 comparison. Some things look better on Switch 2. Some things look a little bit better on PS4. Some things kind of just look negligible. Like in this scene right here where they're running, there's not a whole lot of difference.
And that's the problem that we're facing. The PS4 is last gen. The Switch 2 is supposed to be current gen. When the PS4 beats the new hardware in some areas, that's bad. And that's why when somebody says, "True, Random Boy, true. True," like I say, it looks like a fucking PS1 demake.
I would say in the quality, just glancing at it. And again, I'm talking from a general consumer base. There can be literal differences in frame rate, literal differences in resolution, literal differences in a lot of things. But the point is, the PlayStation 4 does look pretty good. PlayStation 4 has always looked pretty good. This is one reason why, you can see even here.
I think if you look at the two, this one has more texture. It has higher res. The thing about the Switch 2 and what I've seen with all its ports is that it has higher resolution textures. So even though they're running at the same resolution and the same frame rate, the Switch 2 technically has slightly higher resolution textures. So what I think, Chaos, the reason that we're using the PS4 is that the PS4 is... The Switch 2 is more similar to the PS4 and Xbox One than it is to the PS5 and Series X. Out of those three, Series S, Series X, and PS5, the closest to the Switch 2 would be the Series S.
Or the textures are slightly better on Switch 2. Switch 2 in some areas does outperform the PlayStation 4, but that's not the point. Like, this comparison obviously isn't nearly as impressive as the Switch 1 because the Switch 1 is Nintendo's platform. And you can see they do it to the Series S as well. The Series S in general presents a better version of the game, but the Switch 2 version can kind of hold up and hold its own here. And you can see this.
There's supposed to be... Why would you waste time and money on porting it? What the fuck, game? What the hell?
Back to Nintendo Prime, and yeah, first off, the shirt's wrinkly. I'm sorry I didn't iron it today. It was actually stuck at the bottom of a laundry basket. That's why it's all wrinkly.
I don't know what the fuck happened there.
That doesn't matter because we actually have to have an interesting, better version of the game, but the Switch 2 version can kind of hold up and hold.
Seriously, what? Why? Why would you even... But I mean, if you're looking at this, the Series S has fidelity mode, and it has a performance mode. The Switch 2 doesn't have a fucking performance mode, so you're stuck at 7, so you're stuck at 30. It's still better than the fucking Switch version, because the Switch version is basically you're running it on a fucking PS1.
Its own here, and you can see this nice little cross section of like on the Switch. They didn't even have the text up here. You can see the PS4. You can see the text is there. You can see the texture.
Saying you want to watch Harmon, right? No, I don't want to fucking watch Harmon. I don't want to watch Harmon. The hell.
Screen's a little bit better here on the Switch 2, and then obviously, you know, it's kind of hit its final form. You have the skull here and all that on this Series S because the skull is missing here on the 3 broomstick side. So, yeah, look, obviously, the Series S is probably going to be a better one. It's not limited power draw wise. It can draw power directly from the wall. Switch, well, it can do that.
No Harmon yet.
Still very limited.
No Harmon yet.
There's a battery involved. But I mean, you can see here, you know, obviously there's more foliage and more going on in the Series S version. Nobody's out here trying to pretend the Switch 2 is as powerful as the Series S.
Yes, there are fucking people that are trying to say that it's as powerful or more powerful than the Series S. You know that fucking Nintendo God guy? You know that fucking retard? Yeah, he's trying to say that the Switch 2 is more powerful and more impressive than the Switch, than the Series S and the PS5. He's trying to say that because apparently it uses... Wait, what do you mean he said it?
Switch, well, it can do that in dot mode. It's still very limited because they're trying to consider there's a battery involved. But I mean, you can see here, you know, obviously there's more foliage and more going on in the series.
Foliage. It's foliage. It's foliage. Hey, look, guys, there's more foliage here. Hey, look, there's more foliage. It's foliage. Foliage. It's more foliage. Foliage. God fucking damn. God fucking damn it. Yeah. If Nintendo Prime, I want to say, I want to do the, I went to college. No, he's trying to say foliage. Basically, like, you see all the greenery here? That's foliage. He said foliage. he volcanic in future video. What the fuck is... Oh my god.
S version. Nobody's out here trying to pretend
Hold on, wait, what? Where was it at? Where was it at?
there's more going on in the Series S version. Nobody's battery involved. But I mean, you can see here, you know, obviously there's more
37 foliage. Odd man. We just had them leave a little comment there.
foliage and more going on in the Series S version. Nobody's out here trying to pretend the Switch 2 is as powerful as the Series S, even if it can get like outputs that are sometimes a little bit better. But in general, it's going to be weaker than a Series S. Yes, absolutely. More powerful than the PS4, not quite as powerful as
Yes, I liked my own comment.
the Series S, somewhere in between. And I think for a portable system, that's pretty good. I wish they would have did some more cross comparisons with things like PC handhelds, but I can understand why it's very, very hard to do those comparisons to PC handhelds. I get it because settings are going to be out of the holder. Some people will be fine with 20 FPS but cranked visuals. Some people want 60 FPS and you really drop the visuals. So yeah, it's hard to do direct comparisons to PC handhelds just because.
Wait, what the fuck, Center? Who did that? Was that King Thrash? Did King Thrash try to pretend to be his own fucking mom? Irate Gamer. Okay, he's probably before my time, but what the? Why are you trying to be your own fucking mother? There's some problems. There's some problems with that. That is more. That there's some psychological problems with that.
Because there's such a variance in spec. But, you know, if we go all the way back here, you can see loading times. You can see where the Series S loads in 9.2 seconds.
This is also bad. This is also bad. Because PS4, this is off the PS4's hard drive, which, I mean, it makes sense. With the PS4, you can easily go in, buy a fucking SATA SSD, replace the drive, and be good. And you'll get slightly improved load times. It'll probably be as fast as fucking Switch 2's.
And Switch 2 is 19.2 seconds. And this is Hogsmeade to North Forbidden Forest travel. PS4 is 40. You see, it's half of that. So again, you can see it's between the PS4 and the Series S, even on load times. Same with the Forbidden Forest area. And you can see their analysis and conclusion, which, you know, I'll link this down below if you want to hear their words and what they're saying and what's better. I mean, you could argue that is this better than the Series S with the fog light? I don't know. Obviously, it looks more detailed over here, but they just don't have that fog light. So again, to me, it's a very clear visual upgrade, a very clear indicator of the jump forward. Because I know some.
Okay, so I think we can all agree when comparing this to this, it's pretty obvious, right? I think we can all agree this is a leap over this.
People played Mario Kart World and they didn't feel like it was a massive leap forward generationally. But then you can look at these third-party games that were on Switch 1 and then had custom-built versions for Switch 2, and you can see very clearly that this is a generational leap forward for Nintendo. Now, how does this somehow trigger people? Well, that's what I don't really get, but we're going to get into it because, of course, this happened over on.
So it took 9 minutes to get to the fucking point of the title. It took 9 minutes to get to the point. I understand wanting to have the prelude. I understand wanting to have the prelude, but you could have said, this is the image. Right here. That's the image. This is what everyone's getting mad at. And then you could fucking start the video, and then you have enough content. Because if he did that, that would be like a minute. He would still be 10 minutes. Oh no, Centred, no. Harmon's... Yeah, this is not as bad as Harmon, because at least Nintendo Prime stayed sort of on topic. Because he was talking about the Switch 2, comparing it to other systems, comparing it to Switch 1. That's still part of the topic. Harmon will just say something, and then prattle off for another 10 minutes about another fucking thing. And then at the end of the fucking video, he'll get back to the original topic, and then say nothing. Also, holy shit, the pause game. Holy shit, we're keeping that.
On X, you guys know how fickle it could be over here. As we come in here, it says, I said, I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy on Switch 2 lately, and I concur with the take of Digital Foundry's review. When compared directly to Switch 1, you can literally see this is a generational leap in performance, something that a quote-unquote Switch Pro wouldn't have been capable of showing. And again, that is based on other consoles with Pro models and Nintendo's own upgraded models in the past. There is clear context to explain that this is a much bigger leap forward than just a little spec bump would have been mid.
No, yeah, Random. I think, like, me personally, I think I run on topics for way too fucking long. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why the hell am I running on this? Why am I going on this for like 10 minutes? That was fucking Prelude for Prelude's sake.
Generation. Now, people don't realize that just because visually games don't look better than PS5 or something, which of course they don't, was never the point. The reason people were excited about Switch 2 from a performance perspective is what we're seeing here. Should be is, not if. There are 150 million plus Switch owners that are going to experience a generational leap forward to something that looks and feels great. This is a leap that...
The problem is that it doesn't feel great. When your leap is... Hey, Chris, thanks for stopping on by. When your leap is from... When you're leaping from sub 720p images, sub 720p, barely 30 FPS games, to 1080p, 30 FPS games, that's still not a huge leap. I know we like to compare the fucking Hogwarts Legacy. I know we like to compare that. I know we like to compare that. But we are do I really need to fucking show this? Because this is also on the same hardware. Same hardware, chat!
What is that? That weapon
Same hardware!
can't be a blade.
Alright. It isn't the fucking game. It's the developers. It's the developers. So when Monolith can get that out of fucking Switch 1 hardware, there is no excuse for why whoever ported fucking Hogwarts Legacy to the Switch 1 Censored, I swear to fucking God.
sure, PlayStation 4 owners felt coming from the PlayStation 3. But what is often
The problem is that when you're looking at it, the Switch 2 is going to be the Nintendo machine. When you're looking at Nintendo games to Nintendo games, it's not a huge leap, which is the problem. So let's say 3-4 years down the line, we get the next Zelda. And Nintendo's like, okay, we have 4K 30, 1080p 60. And then, let's say, 3-4 years down the line, PS6, next Xbox comes out, and they're like, we can do 4K 60 native easily. In some games, we can do 4K 120. The Switch 2 is always going to be compared to the current systems and the next systems. And the problem is that with the Switch 1, you didn't have a Steam Deck. You didn't have an ROG Ally. You didn't have that direct competitor that you can compare to. Chris, no, I do not. I do not have Insignia set up on anything. But I do hear that the servers are actually pretty good. But you don't have any of this. You don't have that huge, gigantic leap. You don't. So why the fuck? Why, Nintendo Prime? Why are we focusing on this like it's this huge, gigantic thing?
not talked about is a generational leap from PS4 to PS5. It didn't feel this drastic. Why is Switch 2 in a very healthy position? Well, this is why, right? What you see in this screenshot will make tens of millions of gamers very happy for a whole generation. The question moving forward is more so this. If Switch 2 is so successful, let's say it does over 100 million in sales, Nintendo is highly likely to do a Switch 3. It would be their first ever back-to-back gen crossing 100 million units. They like success. They won't just abandon it to change directions. Remember, Wii happened because Nintendo's direction with consoles wasn't selling. Going from Switch
Yeah, and then they changed directions because the Wii wasn't going to... that casual audience wasn't going to last. And it didn't. Look at the Wii U. So when you have that, and Nintendo's going with the Switch 2, and right now it's having huge success, but what happens 6 months, a year down the line? They've already sold 5 million copies, 5 million units now, yes. But what happens then? Are we still gonna keep talking the same shit? Is it still gonna be a success? Because right now the problem with the Switch 2 is its library. The games that we have for it are not that good, and in comparison to other platforms, they're just there. They're just on it. When it comes to updates for Switch 1 games, you have a few, but all the others are just the inbuilt shit from the Switch 1. That fucking hell.
2 to Switch 3 is likely not going to show this drastic of a graphics boost. So, will an even more powerful Switch 3 be enough? See, I'm even lobbing criticism here. Hey, when we get the Switch 3, I'm not sure that power alone will be a deciding factor for people.
It won't. Because once again, when you have a comparable system, a system with comparable hardware to the Switch 1, to the Switch 2, that being the PC handhelds, and the PC handhelds are going to continue to get new versions. You're going to get a new ROG Ally.
Anyways, I guess time will tell, but that's a concern. And then I show this screenshot, the same one from the video. Obviously, you guys saw the video, which is going to be higher quality than X compression. Okay, so as we go back into here, you'll see just these statements like Jesse S is coming in. I get you're a Nintendo guy, but with Nintendo releasing older games for more money on newer hardware, being such protective, you know what, about their IPs and bullying, that those dare that bring competition to the markets, and to top it all off, Switch 2 by TOS, you don't own it. None of this has anything to do with what I just said. You're gonna see this.
Nintendo Prime. What you don't understand here is that people are having a problem with the Switch 2. They just have a problem with it because of all the shit Nintendo has done. From game key cards to the price of fucking Mario Kart World to the restrictions on storage models to the pricing of everything to the EULA. Everything. People have a problem with Nintendo. And it's good. It's good to have a problem with Nintendo because they're being scummy. The problem is that you're trying to damage control and you continually damage control. So now you're at a point where people think, oh, this is just damage control, when in reality, you're not wrong. In reality, this statement is not wrong. The problem is that people are so fucking mad, and they're going to continually be mad. Let's keep that honest. Nintendo has to do a lot to build back trust in the gaming industry, in the gaming market, not in the gaming industry, but in the eyes of consumers that are burned by Nintendo. You doing this does not help anything.
As a consistent pattern in some of the replies. Some of the replies are obviously just exciting and mimicking, yeah, this is great, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, I'm having fun with it. But that comment had nothing to do with this post. All right, we'll move past my response on this. Switch 2 tech is 2020 old. They could have released this console just 3 years ago. Switch 1 F off. He says F off. What does that have to do with anything I said? Again, why are people triggered that I'm saying this is a generational leap in performance over Switch 1? Why is this making people upset? And this person, me and him go back and forth quite a bit. He really, this who am I guy brings up a whole bunch of just arguments that make no sense. He's talking about me moving goalposts. Meanwhile, he's bringing up things like other systems that don't matter and all this.
Again. Fucking again. People are so fucking underwhelmed with this system that they're going to argue with you. And he made good points. He made good points.
Brings up a whole bunch of just arguments that make.
You keep trying to say that it also contains Ada Lovelace for its fucking AI bullshit.
No sense.
RAN upgrades. Buddy with a minimum GPU knowledge knows 90% improvements performance comes from node upgrades. And the Switch 2 is just a big fail for customers. Because Sony and Microsoft make good machines with contemporary nodes in 2020 for good price to performance and future proofing. The Switch 2 is using an older node than those 2020 machines, compromising capabilities in the long run just to get more money out of each sale. The Switch 2 base is the same price as a PS5 digital. So you're buying the Switch 2 and you're getting less performance, less future proofing for fucking portability. Who am I made good fucking points. in reality, what you are doing, Nintendo Prime, is that you're trying to use that tweet, that it's a generational leap, over the Switch 1 to discredit actual fucking criticism and actual fucking reasonable shit. The Switch 2 is on an 8nm process. It shouldn't be on an 8nm process. You know why it's on an 8nm process? Because then Nintendo could fucking produce more. That's why. They could produce more because barely anybody's using 8nm now. Because everything's moved to 7, 6, 5nm. So they have all of those, so they have all of that production free for them. Which means that they can just continually produce Switch 2s at an exhausting rate, while also sacrificing performance, battery life, and fucking reliability.
Talking about me moving goalposts, meanwhile he's bringing up things like other systems that don't.
Long run, even optimistic given, Switch 2 is releasing just 2 years before next gen, because the rumors are that it's going to be 2027 or 2028. DLSS Edge will be gone with the next gen using FSR 4. Using Ampere without frame gen allows next gen to widen the gap. And they're going to have to do a pro fucking system. They were hyping 4K 60 paid upgrades that turned out to be running on dynamic res, going down to nearly 1080p. Dev free upgrade if they do a Switch 2 Pro. Even some 1p top at 1440p before upscaling. Games with graphics worthy of a 2005 console. All of this screams for massive stomping. He is not fucking wrong. You're saying that it's an argument. It's an argument that it's a upgrade, a leap, a generational leap over the fucking Switch 1. Yeah, first party. Because, I know, what's his base? Splatoon 3, it tops out at 1440p and it has to use upscaling.
Matter and all this.
God damn it. I'm not console warring, I'm putting examples.
Sense. He's talking about me moving goalposts. Meanwhile, he's bringing up things like other systems that don't matter.
Won't stop moving goalposts. You didn't just say it was a generational leap. You said a pro couldn't make it, which is a lie. I'm not console warring. I'm just putting examples. PS5 Pro is a scam. PS4 Pro was just disappointing. 1X was a disappointment. In Nintendo Prime, you're saying that the Switch Pro was an overclocked X1. We don't know that. The Pro never came out. And when you look at Pro systems, CPUs are overclocked. And GPUs are upgraded. So most likely, it's going to be a better GPU with a hampered CPU.
And all this other stuff. It's all stupid. It's literally all stupid. You have this person coming in, you know, if they name it the Switch Pro, it'd be the same thing. This person goes back and forth on the stupid moniker of Pro, how it like, oh, it's you know, it doesn't have a set meaning and all this stuff. Like, come on, we aren't idiots out here, right? We can read the tea leaves. Everyone knows what a Pro model would mean. Everyone knows that even if they don't call it a Pro, they call it a new, they call it whatever, that it's a minor spec upgrade to what's currently there within the same generation. It's not going to be a generational leap. We're not stupid. Why people are acting stupid, it's because it's about Nintendo, right? This is just what happens.
It's because you're trying... No, it's because people think that you're saying that it's a generational leap. When you say generational leap, people think that it's a leap over the fucking current generation. You know what the current fucking generation is? PS5, Series X, Series S. You know what the fucking Switch 2 isn't? A generational leap over those fucking consoles. It's barely as powerful as the fucking Series S. And you're getting mad because people are actually calling you out on that shit because you're using the same wording and the same verbiage. I wouldn't be surprised if people thought that this was rage bait because of that fucking wording and verbiage. Jesus. 3-strike policy, you're already on strike 2.
Points out something that actually, I tend to agree with. It feels like we hit peak graphical improvements a while back, and the improvements now are in the mechanics. Yeah, there's still some improvements in resolution, frame rate, particle effects, lighting, shadows. There's still improvements happening, but now they're on like the finer tuned details than they are on the big general landscape scope. You step back and look at two TVs side by side.
Strike 3, you're done. I'm fucking bored. Alright. Chat, I'm gonna give you an option because I'm fucking bored. Go to the poll, you fucking assholes. Go to the polls, assholes. Let's see. Just... Fucking hell, does he actually... It's just him complaining about fucking Twitter comments. He doesn't even do it interesting. Doesn't even do it to be interesting, Jesus. We may not do Nintendo Prime again because this shit is fucking dull. Holy. I'm gonna give y'all a couple more seconds. What I'm gonna do is that fuck, what is it? What the fuck is this? Yeah. Okay, I don't know what the hell. My brain's kind of fucked right now. I don't know why. Come on, it's tied. You got people in fucking chat. Come on. Alright, chat, I'm gonna go get some water. I'll be back. Enjoy.
Give me your mailing address. I want to mail you a spoon. I'm tired of people saying that because I am who I am, I can't eat shit out of my fucking ass. Who? Eat it. Kiss my fucking ass and lick my balls. Eat it. Fucking eat it. Oh, he's doing a meme. Oh, this is cringe. Eat it. Eat it. I am fucking based. Fucking eat it. Shut the fuck up. Take your fucking ass and eat it. Eat it. Kiwi Farms. wanna mail you a spoon on a daily fucking basis. Phil's a racist, Phil's a sexist, Phil's this, Phil's that. I am who I am. I am fucking based. Eat it. Kiss my fucking ass and lick my ball. Eat it. Fucking eat it. Oh, he's doing a meme. Oh, it's a cringe. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it. I am fucking based. Eat it. Fucking eat it.
Oh, you're
Shut the
fucking
fuck
kidding me.
up. I am who I am. Eat it. Eat it.
Oh, you're fucking kidding me.
Eat it.
Well, that's perfect timing, isn't it?
Fucking eat it. Oh, he's doing a meme. Oh, it's a cringe.
That's
Eat it.
perfect timing.
Eat it.
I'm gonna give it a couple more seconds. Gonna give it a couple more seconds. Alright. Harmon won. Goodbye, fucking brain cells.
One of the real
Wait, someone is? I want to see if he has any new videos, though. Yeah, I'm not gonna cover this one because I'd rather Vigilante cover that one. Harmon Smith, PC gamers claim Capcom is having huge success on PC after Monster Hunter Wilds failure. Harmon, I would not call like over 1 million players a failure.
really interesting phenomenons we've been seeing over the past decade or so is this delusional hot take from the PC gaming community that they're dominating, that they're winning, that there's like hundreds of
There are hundreds of millions of people on PC. More people are buying fucking PCs than ever. PC's dominating right now.
millions of players on Steam alone, and that there's like 2 billion PC gamers worldwide, that Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo are completely finished, and that like all their exclusives are going to get ported to PC, and
It's already happening, chat. It's already happening. Harmon, we have fucking Xbox games come to PC day and date for years now. We have fucking PlayStation starting to put games day and date. Their games are coming sooner and sooner. The only one that's having a holdout is fucking Nintendo. And that's because they're fucking idiots. They're stuck in the 90s believing that they need exclusives to sell consoles. They think that they need to sell consoles. They don't. They just need to sell games. And they make good fucking games. So just sell those.
that they have won, they've always been winning, and it's all just a giant cope. You know, if you like pull back the layers of the onion of lies even just a little bit, it all just kind of falls apart, you know? Because like you're getting your PlayStation exclusives years late, you know, you're not
You get PlayStation exclusives. At this point, we get it a year later. The first video, what? Did you put something in Discord? Oh, are you talking about Harmon's fucking intro? No, I've already seen that enough. I don't want to see it again.
not getting the Nintendo ones at all, and the Xbox ones that come day one aren't doing all that hot, you know? Like, the reality of the situation is, if you actually look at the PC gaming community, the idea that it's some ideal, affordable paradise of gaming.
Harmon. Oh, Harmon. Oh, Harmon. What the fuck is this? Oh, Harmon. Oh, Harmon. Oh, Harmon. Oh, Harmon. Harmon, 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 Harmon. Harmy. Harmon. You can't keep doing this to yourself. You can't. You can't. You can't. You can't. God damn it, where the fuck is it? You can't. You can't. You really can't keep doing this to yourself, Harmon. No thanks. Oh God, Harmon, you can't keep doing this to yourself. You can't keep doing this to yourself. Oh God, I let's get through this one. No, I have not gone nuts. I have not gone nuts. Yet. I am insane. I am not nuts yet. Harmon. A Steam sale. Right there. I can buy Hogwarts Legacy for $14 on PC. And have it not only run better, but look better and play better too. While on Switch 2, I have to pay full price. Right? I have to pay full price. And it only runs at 1080p 30. And I can't change any settings, which means that it has to run at 1080p 30. So, Harmon
is just a complete farce.
What do
And
you mean?
one of the really funny things you see, in the community is people like Raging Golden Eagle, right? These are people who hate.
Who the fuck? Who? Chat, who the fuck is Raging Golden Eagle? Chat, who the fuck is that? Raging Golden Eagle, who the fuck are you? What the fuck?
Corporations, religiously condemn everything they do, try and make them sound like they're idiots when in reality.
Yeah. You see the shit that happened with Xbox? You see the shit that happened with Microsoft? $80 billion. They spent $80 billion. That's as much money as they fucking did. That's as much money as they spent on ABK. $80 billion on AI. They sacked 9,000 jobs to replace it with AI, and you're telling me that Microsoft is run by smart people. You're telling me that Satya Nadella is fucking smart. You're telling me that fucking Phil Spencer is smart. You're telling me that fucking Matt Booty is smart. You're telling me that fucking Sarah Bond is smart. Fucking Sony, they fucking canned 10 live service games. They spent $400 million on Concord. $400 million on Concord for that to not even last 2 weeks. $400 million. You're telling me that fucking Hiroki Totoki is smart. You're telling me that fucking Herman Hulst is smart. That Jim Ryan is smart. No, they're not fucking smart. You know what they are? They're fucking idiots. No corporation is fucking smart because all they're doing is chasing trends, and chasing trends is fucking idiotic. You think fucking Disney is run by smart people? You think that fucking WB is run by smart people? No fucking corporation is run by smart people anymore. Nintendo's not run by smart people because there's no actual fucking creatives in fucking high positions. There's no devs in the high position. There's no gamers in the high position. There's no fucking artists in the high position. You know who's in the high position? Fucking stupid ass piece of the shit. That's who's in high positions. You think that David Zaslav is a fucking smart man? No. They shoot down things that people actually want and then greenlit shit that nobody wants. Nobody wanted fucking Velma. Nobody wanted that piece of shit. Yet they greenlit that over a fucking Spider-Verse animated Batman Beyond film. Don't ever say that corporations are fucking smart. They're not fucking smart. You're only saying that because you have one that you fucking constantly suck the dick to. Holy fucking shit.
That these guys are like unemployed, otaku, like neat lolicon.
Look at who's fucking talking. Look at who's fucking talking, you fat piece of shit. You want to talk about fucking lolly? Have you read your fucking book? Have you read your own fucking book? Holy shit. Have you even taken a fucking shower with the amount of grease that emanates from you? Holy fucking shit. What do you mean we have a thumbnail cheap, Max Lore? Thief. What do you mean? What do you mean we have a thumbnail thief? I need to know where this is posted. I need to know. While I continue this fucking piece of shit.
On VTuber, like just Spurgs, right?
Says the fucking Spurg right here. Jesus Christ, your mother should have swallowed.
You know, all these guys are constantly coming out, calling these, these executives like idiots, like they don't know what they're doing, that it's super easy to make a ton of money if you just port everything on PC.
Yes! You know why? You know why? You know fucking why? Let's get into some fucking economics. When you release a game and you have restrictions on it. Let's say it's only available on one platform. You have a set amount of people that can fucking buy it. You have a ceiling of people that can buy that one game. And not everyone is going to buy that one game. So when you hit that ceiling of people that are buying that game, that means that you made as much money as possible off of that fucking game. That means that game isn't earning you residual revenue. that means that that game isn't gonna make you more money over time because you've already sold it to the max amount of people that are gonna buy it with your restrictions. You know how you make more money? You remove the restrictions. You raise the fucking ceiling. And you know how you do that? You port to fucking other consoles. Helldivers 2 already reached its fucking profit ceiling. It already reached its fucking profit ceiling. Thank you, Max Lore. What the actual... Oh, hell no. 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 But back to the rant. You know why fucking Sony is putting Helldivers 2 on Xbox? You know why? Because they already hit the profit ceiling. They already hit the profit ceiling, which means that they want to gain more money. You know how you do that? You put it on more fucking platforms. That game's gonna go to Switch 2 because that's more people to buy it. You are not a fucking economist. You know fucking nothing. Nothing at all. Porting is the easiest way to get more fucking money because that means that you're getting your game out to more fucking people. The more people buy, the more money you fucking make. The amount of people on fucking PC that would be willing to drop $60, $70, $50 on Nintendo games. You know how many people on that? Fucking millions. Millions. You would have millions of fucking easy sales. Easy sales. Instant fucking pre-order. Instant fucking purchase. You would have instant money that way. Instant fucking money. But no. Nintendo has to sell their fucking piece of shit hardware. Because you know what they want? You know what they want? They want the residual revenue when you buy V-Bucks. They want the residual revenue when you buy a game. That's the hope. That's the hope, and that's the whole fucking problem with consoles. Is that they hold games hostage. They hold games hostage from people that actually want to play them in the hopes that you buy their console and that console becomes the preferred platform. That's why they hold their games hostage. Because they want you to spend money on that fucking system. Guess what, Nintendo? I'm fucking not. Guess what, Sony? I'm not. You know how you can get my fucking money? You know how? Put the game on the fucking platform that I'm gonna play it on. If you're not gonna do that, I'll find other ways of fucking playing that game. Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. You are a retard of all highest retards. You have no fucking brain. You can't even rub two brain cells together because you only have one.
And it's really interesting kind of seeing the double standard because, you know, these guys are very adamant, you know, 90% of the time that you can't trust anything corporations say, you can't believe what...
Ha! 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 Do you want to go on the recent fucking example? Phil Spencer said that he played fucking Everwild and that game was in a good shape. Cancelled! You know what happened with fucking... You know what happened with fucking Perfect Dark? It was said to be in a good fucking state. People were already playing it. Guess what? Cancelled! Concord was said to be fucking PlayStation's next game. Its next big thing. You know what happened to that fucking game? You know what happened to that? 2 weeks on the market. $4 million down. $400 million down the drain. Everything that comes out of fucking Suit's mouth is fucking lies. The only way that I'll fucking believe a Suit is if they show me with my own fucking eyes. Because now there is a high fucking likelihood that that fucking perfect dark shit, that fucking perfect dark footage that we saw was fake. There's a high likelihood about that. And look at where we are now. We're questioning in every single fucking trailer that we've seen from Microsoft is fucking real. There is literally no fucking way that you can believe there is an actual... You have no fucking brain. The only thing that you have in your brain is Nintendo's dick. And you're constantly sucking it from the inside out and from outside in. You only care about the corporation. You don't care about the consumer. You don't care about the people that actually matter.
But they tell you that they're like trying to like misrepresent their products, that they're trying to like, you know, sucker you in. You know, they are very, very eager to kind of condemn nearly everything that these corporations do. Nearly.
Yes, nearly. Because there are actual good fucking corporations. There are actual good people that actually get. Do you know why I fucking say Suits? Because I fucking crucify Suits, but I won't crucify the creatives that make the fucking game. Because you know why I won't? Because those people actually fucking care. Those people want everyone to fucking play their game. Those people put their hearts and souls into a fucking game. They will spend hours, days, fucking not sleeping to get a game out that they think that people will like. I hate the fucking corporations. I don't hate the creatives. Because the corporations are the people that tell them, you can't have time to optimize this game. You don't have time to finish it. You know what? We're just gonna release the game now, even though you told us time after time after time that it's not fucking done. They don't give a shit about making a good game. They give a shit about making money. And they think that rushing a game out is going to make money.
The one exception to this is when they come out and try and tell people that they've had massive success on PC. You know, every time like Capcom or whoever releases a statement saying that like PC is our most rapidly growing platform, you know, you see all these people just coming out like all smug, like, oh, I guess consoles are on the way.
Because they fucking prove our point. They prove our fucking point. That if you put the game where we will fucking play it, then we will buy the fucking game. Is that not that hard to fucking understand, you fucking retard? Holy fucking shit. Holy shit.
Yeah. They really do believe that like PC is on the verge of like dominating video game consoles. You know,
It already has, you fucking idiot. It already has, you idiot. It already does. Valve makes as much money as fucking Nintendo and Sony. And they don't release games. They make that much money from just a 30% cut and fucking CS2 skins. They don't have to release hardware. They just do. I need for fucking thumbnails.
Even though games like Monster Hunter Wilds are being downvoted on Steam for being like pretty much broken and unplayable on Steam.
It's fucking unoptimized and they haven't fixed the optimization, you fucking idiot. people are fucking downvoting the damn game so that fucking Capcom can see this is what you need to fix. Fix it. Same shit that happened with fucking Helldivers 2. Same shit. Fix it. You know what also happened with Monster Hunter Wilds? You know what also happened? Over 1 million concurrent players. Over 1 million concurrent players on Steam alone. You're saying that's a failure? Just because it's getting downvoted because Capcom isn't letting their devs fix shit?
With like no patch or no update in sight, you know, like months after launch, we're still dealing with like all these insane technical issues and problems to the point where, to me, it's very clear like what the companies are doing with these statements and what they intend to do. Like, they'll release their games on PC, right? But much like they do with Nintendo consoles, you know, with their late, like, broken ports, like, what they want you to do is steer you towards the better versions on Xbox and PlayStation.
No. You know why I know this? You know why? Because Monster Hunter Wilds is still fucking broken on the consoles! It's still an unoptimized piece of shit on the consoles too. It's just unoptimized on fucking everything. I can't fucking sit through this. I can't fucking sit through this. No, Jacob, I don't need uppies. I need this man to actually have a thought.
So in a lot of ways, like, the PC is like in the same position of Nintendo, where, like, you know, the third parties desperately want PlayStation and Xbox to succeed because those are the companies that like give them all the support and market all their products and, like, you know, maintain the illusion that their games are, like, you know, for mature, sophisticated adults. Right?
What the fuck are you saying? You're fucking saying bullshit right now. You're just spewing bullshit out of your mouth. I don't even think you know what the fuck you're saying. What do you mean that they market the games for them? The only way that they market the games for them is if they purchase the fucking marketing rights for the games. Most of the time, they have to fucking market the games themselves. Mature, motherfucker. I did not think I was gonna get this fucking mad. I'm only 4 minutes in. Motherfucker, you don't know shit. You don't know shit. What do you mean mature? If you think mature, PC is the most fucking mature system out of all of them. You know why? Because on PC, they don't have to censor shit. They don't have to censor shit. On consoles, they do. On PC, there is a much larger user base. On PC, there is much better availability. It is much better to publish on PC. It is much better to port on PC. It is much better to develop on PC. There's more fucking options on PC. You come in spewing this bullshit again, you're already on your fucking second strike. You're already on your second strike.
You know, that's always been the...
My roommate's gonna come in here and be like, what the fuck are you doing? He's gonna... I fucking...
It's always been, like, the shit. Like, their thing for the past 25 years is, like, saying that PlayStation and Xbox are geared towards a more mature demographic. You know, Shuhei Yoshida released a statement about this recently, actually.
No, Sumtendo. What we do here is something called the 3-strike rule. It's something I took from Gara, where basically a video gets 3 strikes. A video basically gets 3 tries. You get strike 1, you get strike 2, and then strike 3, we move on. Harmon is on his 2nd strike with me. If he gets a 3rd strike, I'm moving the fuck on. Jacob, if Death Stranding 1 probably wouldn't, because that game runs on the Steam Deck, and the Switch 2 is around the same power as the PS4 Pro, and Death Stranding was made for the PS4.
Nintendo is like kind of seen as like the kiddie console, right? But like on the flip side, you have on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have PC, which is seen as the more hardcore option.
What are you... This is how it goes. The Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 are known as the more casual, focused-oriented consoles. Simply because that's what Nintendo gears their games to. The widest market that they can. Because their games and their franchises are geared to be marketed to the widest possible market. And it is a fucking stereotype that kids will get Nintendo consoles. The PlayStation and Xbox are seen as the hardcore of the console sphere. They're not hardcore. PC is known as the ultimate in gaming. If you want the best of the best, you go to PC. If you want the best customization, you go to PC. If you want the best graphics, you go to PC. Best frame rates, go to PC. Best compatibility, go to PC. You want all that? Go to PC. The problem is that with consoles going up in price, you now have to question, do I go out and buy a PlayStation 5? Or spend a couple $100 more and get a PC? Why buy a PlayStation 5 Pro for $700 when I can spend $800 and get a better system? That's why PC's in the fucking conversation. Harmon. That's why. Because when your consoles cost $400, $500, $600, $700, even $800, no, Spec, we have not seen the glorious intro. I don't even know if you've seen me in my fucking yelling spit. The intro's not on this video for some reason. I don't know why. I don't want to fucking see the intro again. I'm already pissed as it is.
So, like, you know, for the PC community, the narrative is that, like, oh, I'll spend more money. I'll spend thousands of dollars on tech, on accessories, on graphics cards, on a gaming PC, right? And then I'll just pirate everything, and then I'll be, like, saving money in the long run. And because, like, you're
Strike 3. Alright, chat. I don't think that we're gonna do Switch Wars today. I want to do this.
Hey there, gamers. Dreamcast Guy here, and today we're talking.
Dreamcast Guy. Do not buy Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 + 4 remake. Now, if you have to ask, who owns Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? Well, that would be Activision. Who owns Activision? Xbox. And notice that. No, I'm actually kind of excited for this game because I really don't play Tony Hawk's games. But I've been wanting to try it. 3 and 4 are considered to be two of the better ones, so I was like, why not?
Hey there, gamers. Dreamcast Guy here, and today we're talking about the Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remake because this game is awful. It is literally, I mean, it's a lie. It says Tony Hawk 3 and 4. Tony Hawk 4 is not in the game. There's no story mode. It's missing a lot of the objectives. There's levels that have been removed. 80% of the soundtrack is just gone. I want to talk about this, but I have to admit that I am extremely frustrated because I am a Tony Hawk super fan. I grew up playing these games. I mean, obviously, a lot of us did.
Chat. Go wild. Go fucking wild. If you look in the Discord, I gave you a gift. Go wild.
It's so fun to actually go out there, and each of the Tony Hawk games in the late 90s to early 2000s, part of what was so fun about them is that they weren't just extra map packs. With each new Tony Hawk game, there was a sense of evolution. New styles of trick, new upgrades, new areas, new crazy sounds, new music, stuff that made it feel like, hey, here is that cool piece of new punk tech, right? And also, they were extremely fun games. I feel like what made Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the first remake we got a couple years ago, so special is that it felt like it understood that vibe. Yeah, it had a fresh coat of paint. Yeah, it had some extra objectives. Yeah, it had some cool new graphics.
And also, it was made by Vicarious Visions. Yeah, Chaos, the game isn't out yet. Apparently, he got a review code. But I don't fucking trust DCG. So I want to see if he's coping, because this game is Activision is owned by Xbox. So I want to see if he's coping. This is most likely going to be the last video, because I'm fucking tired.
But at the end of the day, this was still Tony Hawk 1 and 2. I gave this game a 10 out of 10 when I reviewed it, and it ended up being, this became one of the highest selling remakes of all time. And what happened? Well, Activision shut them down. Vicarious Visions, they got the Microsoft treatment. And so now,
it was shut down by Activision before they even before they were even bought by Microsoft. And even then, Microsoft only shut down, one studio? The Initiative? Shutting them down was a fucking stupid idea. But in the grand scheme of things, Sony shut down a much more important studio. That being Japan Studio. While we still fucking cry for Microsoft to shut down. While we still cry for Microsoft to shut down 343 because they are fucking ass.
completely different studio by the name of Iron Galaxy worked on this remake, and boy, did they just mess it up from top to bottom. But let me explain. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe.
No. And the fact that you use Dreamcast controllers, yet you don't fucking talk about Dreamcast at all. Jeez, just change your name from Dreamcast guy to fucking Sony guy. Because that's all you fucking talk about.
Right, if you haven't already. Okay, so let me try to chill out. Here's my thing. I like the Tony Hawk games because they are just so dang addictive. If you've never tried them, the way they work is a series of 2-minute runs where basically you have 2 minutes to rack up points, doing flip tricks, grab tricks, grinds, manuals, basically trying to get a very, very, very high score. But on top of that, there's a list of very silly, very random goals, which are like the objectives for each level.
Okay, so what's a Sony Cast Guide true?
Find the secret tape, knock some hobos off a bridge, do a particular trick off a particular ramp. And it was really fun because it felt like an Easter egg hunt of Punk. It felt like this cool, weird scavenger hunt, trying to find all the different objectives and figure out sort of the puzzle of each level. And it gave you some permanent upgrades. You got extra stats, extra cool decks and unlockables. And it made
Okay.
it where it was really fun to beat this game and then kind of play it over and over
So
again
what's the
with all
problem
the
with-
different characters and
so
kind of
what's
get
the problem with
extremely good at your particular
remake?
maps you love the most. Whereas Tony Hawk 4, this broke the formula in a way that a lot of people respected back in the day. Like Tony Hawk 3 and Tony Hawk 4, these games have aged incredibly well. The original versions. Before I did this review, I actually went back and played the original versions. And you know what? As
Just so you know, chat, the funny thing about Tony Hawk 3 is that this was released on... This was one of the final releases for the N64. So it's funny because you can play this game on the N64 and the GameCube.
bad as the graphics are, as empty as some of the environments are, I still feel like they are so dang fun. Whereas these remakes,
Oh shit.
they miss that.
Please
key
tell me
bit,
someone got that.
vibe
Someone got
of
that.
Punk that is essential to the Tony Hawk DNA. But with Tony Hawk 4, the way that it originally worked, it was called career mode. You got a chance to wander around, to talk to people, to skate up to different skaters or employees and all sorts of stuff, and they would give you a quest. Go grab a bunch of keys.
Okay, get to the point.
Go do this trick. Go ollie over a bunch of fire hydrants and stuff. Those objectives made it where there wasn't this static beginning and ending. It wasn't the run system. For this remake, and I'm going to put 80 quotes around that, there isn't that story mode. It's gone completely. They just removed it. And so, since the levels of Tony Hawk 4 are made for you to free roam, instead, they just slimmed them way, way down.
Okay, that sounds wrong. You know, there's just something about that doesn't sound right, chat. Because how can you be that stupid, that idiotic, to not think, oh, this, the main point of the game, just cut it. I mean, yeah, this was developed under the helm of Microsoft. And if you've seen some of the choices that they made, they are run by fucking idiots. But still, that just sounds too idiotic.
A lot of the levels feel deeply and fundamentally busted because now it's based on that 2-minute run system. Now, I will admit, a lot of these levels, in my opinion, don't work.
Strike one.
Like, they just straight up, they're not made for a 2-minute run. A lot of the objectives were not made to be done in 2 minutes. So you can now go into the options and increase the time. There were a couple levels where I had to increase the timer up to 5 minutes because I just couldn't do.
Show it. Fucking, why are you blabbering on about this shit? Why are you just talking and just blabbering about this when you can just show us? Just show that. You telling me this shit, well, I don't know, and I can't fucking tell. Like, fucking hell. Jesus Christ, man.
Objectives that originally you had the entire map, you had free roam, you could actually explore and pick targets and figure things out, sort of mental map it before you start trying to do all the grinds. I had to increase the timer just to do the basic missions now. I am baffled because
Show that.
not only did they butcher a ton of levels, I feel like they butchered the graphics. Okay, so with the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake, it was very much a reimagining visually. Like, one of the things I like about playing PlayStation 1 or Game Boy Advance games, stuff like that I'm really, really obsessed with, is that your imagination had to do a lot of the work. You know, the characters are tiny pixels, or they don't have a lot of articulation and no moving mouths, so you had to very much imagine what the game actually looks like. And so the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remaster, I felt like it did such a fantastic job of basically taking our imagination collectively and making it feel realized. Whereas here, all the new maps, all the maps redoings, they look bad. Blown out colors, weird, overly dark spots, just in general, every
Fucking show a comparison. Show the original Tony Hawk 4 and this new map. You're just showing gameplay and expecting people to know. All I can see is just general fucking gameplay.
everything looks cluttered and weird and loud. And this is a personal preference, but it's also weird that I associate these maps so much with like early 2000s. It's weird that in every map now, people are like taking selfies and running around. There's like people on iPhone tablets and stuff. I don't know. It feels a bit weird to have that clashing of stuff, but let me talk about what is definitely, to me, the most egregious removal. So the original games had tons and tons of music, tons. And in my opinion, as a kid growing up, you know, in random text.
Okay, if he doesn't show like exactly censored, that's my fucking problem, is that you're talking about this and you're talking about, oh, this is how it is, like how bad the mats were butchered, and the gameplay's just gameplay. It just looks like that and runs well. You're not showing me your problems, you're just saying them. Like, that's why I don't like fucking DCG reviews. Sounds like he has a balloon. But, like, why the hell aren't you showing me the problems? That's the point of a review, to show the problems. Let me see the problems.
It was hard to find new music. Before the age of Pandora, you'd turn on the radio and you'd learn some new music that way, but there wasn't really a way to like find cool, crazy punk anthems. Part of the addiction to the Tony Hawk games is that with each of them coming out, you'd get a new soundtrack. Crazy, crazy classic track. Stuff that became so iconic. With the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake, they got back 95% of the songs. 95%. Here, they have back 20%
Strike two.
of the songs. 10 songs came back. 10 total out of both games.
That's licensing. That's a problem with licensing, because Tony Hawk 1 and 2, those were made in the 90s. It's easier to license those. In the early 2000s, it's much harder to license those stuff. You're complaining about licensing. That's not a fault of the game. That's a fault of the fucking people that wouldn't license the fucking music.
Came back. This is insane. And I'm going to be a hater. The new songs are terrible. The soundtrack is filled up with a lot of songs that to me just sound like garbage. A couple songs that I love a lot. Like
Welcome back, C-Star. You missed probably one of the best fucking runs of clips that I have. I'm just gonna say it. Me fucking ranting and getting so mad at Harmon. That was probably some of the best. This is most likely the last video. Yeah, censor, but you get what I'm saying. That's more a problem with censors, the licensing, than it is with the fucking game. Blame the licensors for that shit.
Ace of Spades from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, that came back, thank God. But it just feels like with the redone graphics, the redone environments, the redone maps, the redone timer, the removal of story mode, the removal of the soundtrack, so much of this game just feels like they don't get it. Now, I will say, there is a couple new maps. There is a couple new surprises, a couple new objectives and stuff. So I'm not going to say that it's a complete wash, but I just feel like, to me, it's not good nostalgia, and it doesn't even feel like it's filling in the gap. Sometimes a good remake, it goes in a direction you don't expect, and you kind of admire it. Like, oh, you know what? I didn't.
Strike three. Strike three. Strike motherfucking three. Alright. Chat, we have gone for 2.5 hours. I've gotten very mad. I want to fucking end stream. So, thank you to everybody that showed up. Thank you to everybody that watched, no matter if you watched for 5 minutes or the entirety. Thank you for showing up. No, Jacob, No, I don't want uppies. I'm gonna try and get that Switch 2 review out by the end of this week. And as always, thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting. If you like the stream, hit a like. If you like my content, consider subscribing. And of course, instead of donating to me, consider donating to help the families that were affected in the Texas flash floods. The link to donate is down in the description or in the it's going to be in the pinned comment. That would be much more appreciated than you donating to me. Now, with all that said and done, stay safe, chat. Have a good week.